Everything you need to know about RV life is about to change, and it's not in a good way. I have been RVing for years, and I have never seen anything like what's happening in 2025. Our new state laws restricting RVs to a complete ban, our gas powered generators on the chopping block, campgrounds are rejecting older rigs, and gas prices are climbing fast. If you rely on your RV for travel, freedom, and full time living, you me to hear what's next, and most importantly, what is the truth? Is campgrounds increasingly denying RVs because they're too old? Now, I personally haven't come across this because I don't have an older RV. And I know I've seen a lot of RVs out there that are vintage or, even older, but are well maintained. It should be more than happy to have them in their campground. But look at it this way, I guess if you were the campground owner and you wanted to be sure somebody came back, there was a whole bunch of junk campers. It's not going to look as good, and you may not want to go back. So to me, that's bad business practice. Now, but on the other hand, I think if it's a well-maintained RV and it looks good, I don't think there should be any issue no matter what age your RV is. I have noticed that some RVs require a picture of your RV before they allow you to book. I like this approach better. If I was a campground owner, that's what I would do. I think that I wouldn't want anybody with, say, a tarp or a whole bunch of ugly looking things on the outside of their RV. But I don't think RV owners should be discriminated against just because they have an older RV. Leave down in the comments below what you think about this. Yes, on one hand, they can deny business to any customer, but at the other hand, denying the age of somebody's rig just because of the age and not because of the shape of it, isn't that some sort of discrimination? Let me know down in the comments. Now, the age of the vehicle seems to be one of the most popular reasons a RV is denied at a campground, but it's not the only reason. Some campgrounds out there are A-class only luxury campgrounds, so no other rigs are allowed. Another thing too, a lot of campgrounds do restrict is any homemade build ones, like school bus ones, hop-up campers, sometimes even truck toppers can be banned. Or a lot of the campgrounds will be okay with the photo to bypass the age restriction, but there is quite a few out there that strictly enforce this policy. There are over 7,000 campgrounds that are public in the US, but there's also 10,000 plus campgrounds that are private. It is typically the private campgrounds that have the age restrictions. I know that gas prices is a huge concern in the RV community because obviously, especially with the big rigs, big trucks, all these take a lot more gas than, say, a compact car. According from 2024 to 2025, the EIA 2025's average gas price is actually down 21 cents. In 2026, the outlook is that it's going to go down even more. Gas prices, I think they're always variable. You never know what's going to happen that can make it go up or down. And as I'm recording this video, there are new conflicts in the Middle East, which have in the past been known to raise gas prices. The next topic is the rising cost of RVs. There's a lot of things factoring in the rising costs, whether it be the cost of materials like steel, wood, electronics. These costs have all gone up, making RVs more expensive. To combat inflation is to raise interest rates, which in turn will also make financing an RV more expensive. This higher cost has lowered the demand and has increased the amount of inventory that most RV manufacturers have. It is also good because that means they're going to be more eager to get that trailer off their lot, and then gives you a little more wiggle room when it comes to haggling. You also have to take into account of the rising cost of fuel prices, your campgrounds, maintenance fees, as well as storage. Because of these higher prices, a lot of people are opting to go for a used RV instead of a brand new one. I've always gone used, even if it's just slightly used. The U.S. Environmental Agency does regulate small spark ignition engines, including RV generators. RV generators must comply with EPA's Tier 2 and Tier 3 emission standards. This is depending on engine age or size. Now, California, or there's 17 states that follow CAR, it does have stricter emission standards than the federal ones. Now, keep this in mind, though, when you are thinking about a generator or, wanting to know if your generator is CARB compliant. Most generators that are sold these days are already CARB compliant, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. I would double check just in case, because I hate for you to be in a state and then, somebody finds you because you had the wrong generator. Are there 11 states banning RVs in 2025? Congress has passed a resolution revoking a couple California Resource Board's waivers. This effectively eliminates the so-called FAM. The Advanced Clean Truck waiver was revoked, and President Trump is expected to sign it. Okay, so there are myths that were going around, especially last year, about the RV ban. In the news, there was a whole bunch of articles and YouTubers who were actually doing videos about how RVs were going to be banned in California and said states. Just recently come across an article on it. It was very interesting to me because I really wanted to buy a bigger RV in the future. So the way I read it, it sounded like it would be completely banned in 2036, which, it's 11 years away, but that's actually kind of the time frame that I'd want to buy one. Okay, so one of the myths that people were listening to was that it was going to ban the use of motorhomes and tow vehicles. Luckily not, this is not the case. They were basically talking about vehicles that are class 2B through 8. They were basically going to be zero emissions, otherwise they were no longer going to be allowed in the state of California and any state who followed the CARB program that they have in that state. Another one was that they were going to eliminate diesel. They are doing a gradual elimination of these vehicles, but it doesn't say anywhere in any of these notes that they're eliminating all diesel vehicles altogether. Just said 2B through 8. The other thing is that manufacturers may not be able to keep up with the changing of the rules, which is why they were going to gradually bring it out to them. In 2023, many of the manufacturers already met the requirements set by the ACT. And 16% of truck sales were zero emission vehicles. Another one was it was going to stop vehicle registration in California for diesel vehicles. That's another false one. The ACT doesn't regulate diesel vehicles. ZEBs aren't really much cleaner. That is false. I know there's more to look into than just the vehicle emissions being used when it comes to the environmental factor of the vehicle, but the transportation sector makes up about 28 to 29%. Some people also thought that California's electric grid would collapse or would not be able to handle all the ZEB vehicles being put on the road. So this is actually not true. Times that people actually charge their ZEV vehicle is during the non-peak time for power. For instance, they charge their vehicle at night while they sleep. And of course, in California, the grid expansion is always ongoing. In 2024 in California, there was 120 models that were certified ZEV vehicles. And those are in the classes the 2B through the 8. And many of them are customizable just like any other truck. ZEBs cost too much. So the initial upfront cost of the ZEB does cost more. They have equaled themselves out to be comparable to a diesel vehicle, although prices are dropping as technology improves. Now, that was a lot of information in a really short video because I did try to condense only the most important information for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm going to leave my resources and links in the description. My name is Shane with Mapbound, and be sure to like and subscribe, and see you on the next one.